Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. I am absolutely thrilled to be sitting across from a true icon today. For those who may somehow not know who you are, who are you?
Hi Calvin, I'm Miles Davis. I played the trumpet, led some bands, and I like to think I helped move the music forward a few times.
Just moved it forward. You changed the world, Miles. Let's go back to the beginning. When and where were you born?
I came into the world on May 26, 1926 in Alton, Illinois, but we didn't stay there long. We moved to East St. Louis shortly after.
And what was your given name at birth?
Miles Dewey Davis III.
Is there a story behind your birth name?
Not a complex one. I was simply named after my father, Miles Dewey Davis Jr. He was a successful dentist and his father was a bookkeeper. I carried that name with a lot of pride because of the men who came before me.
What was your hometown like growing up in East St. Louis?
It was a busy place, full of life and most importantly, full of music. It had its rough edges, sure, but it was a city where you could hear the blues and jazz drifting out of the clubs. It gave me a certain toughness and a sharp ear.
What was your family life like?
We were well off, which was a blessing. My father was a dentist and my mother was very refined. It was a home that valued education and achievement. My father always supported my music, even when it meant moving far away to pursue it.
What kind of kid were you?
I was intense. Even back then, I was focused. When I got my first trumpet at 13, that was it for me. I was quiet, maybe a bit detached, but always watching and always listening.
What did you dream of becoming as a child?
Once that trumpet was in my hands, there was no dreaming about anything else. I was going to be a musician. I wanted to play like the greats I heard on the radio and in the clubs.
What were some of your favorite activities in school?
Music, naturally. I played in the school band and started playing professionally in local clubs while I was still in high school. I learned more in those clubs than in any classroom.
What was your first job?
My first real musical gig was with a band called Eddie Randall's Blue Devils in St. Louis. I was just a teenager, but I was earning my own money and learning how to hold my own on a stage.
Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
It wasn't about being different in a flashy way, but I realized early on that I didn't want to sound like anyone else. I remember a teacher telling me to play without a vibrato, to keep the tone clear and round. That cool sound became my identity.
What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
Deciding to leave Juilliard. I moved to New York to go to school, but I spent all my time in the clubs on 52nd Street looking for Charlie Parker. Dropping out to play jazz full time seemed like the only logical thing to do, but it set the course for my entire life.
What was your biggest break?
Getting the call to play with Charlie Bird Parker. He was the king of bebop. Standing on stage with him and Dizzy Gillespie, that was my education. That's where I really became Miles Davis.
What were your biggest struggles before success?
Just keeping up. Bebop was fast, complex, and demanding. I had to practice until my lips bled to stay on the bandstand with those guys.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Never. There were times I had to step away to get my health and my mind right, but I never thought about putting the trumpet down for good. The music was always calling me back.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel are essential to your success?
Listening. I listened to everything, classical, flamenco, rock, everything, and I was always looking for the silence. I learned that the notes you don't play are just as important as the ones you do.
What job would you have had if fame never happened?
If I weren't a musician, I might have been a painter. In my later years, I spent a lot of time with brushes and canvas. It's the same thing as music, finding the right colors in the right space.
How did relationships change after success?
Success makes things complicated. People want things from you, or they have an image of you that isn't real. I was always a private person, and the more famous I got, the more I tended to pull back and protect my inner circle.
Did fame bring happiness?
Fame brought opportunity. It gave me the freedom to experiment and change my sound whenever I felt like it. Happiness for me was always in the moment of creation, not the applause afterward.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
People thought I was mean because I'd turned my back to the audience. I wasn't being rude. I was conducting the band. I was listening to the music, not performing for a crowd. I cared about the sound, not the show.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
My father for giving me the tools and the confidence, and musically, Charlie Parker and Gil Evans. Gil helped me see the trumpet as part of a much bigger, more colorful picture.
What was life like in your final years?
It was peaceful in its own way. I was painting a lot, playing a bit more of a fusion sound and just trying to stay curious. I never wanted to be a museum piece playing the old hits. I wanted to stay fresh.
What were you working on in your career before you passed away?
I was exploring hip hop rhythms and more electronic sounds. My final studio album, Bebop, was a reflection of that. I always wanted to hear what the street was playing.
When and where did you pass away?
I passed away on September 28th, 1991, in Santa Monica, California.
What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
I was a huge boxing fan. I loved the discipline of it. I used to train at the gym all the time. It helped my breathing and gave me the stamina to blow that horn for hours.
What was your favorite food?
I loved a good French meal, but honestly, I made a mean chili. I had my own special recipe that I was very proud of.
What was your favorite book?
I didn't read much fiction, but I studied scores. I loved looking at the works of Stravinsky and Rachmaninoff. Those were my books.
Did you have any known rivalries?
People like to talk about me and Wynton Marsalis. We had different philosophies about where jazz should go. I believed in the future. He believed in the tradition. It made for some interesting headlines.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Don't play what's there, play what's not there. Find your own voice and don't be afraid to change it. If you aren't changing, you aren't living.
Miles, this has been an absolute honour. Do you have any closing remarks or stories you'd like to share with our listeners before we sign off?
Just keep your ears open. Don't let anyone tell you what music should be. It's a big world with a lot of sounds in it. Thank you for having me, Calvin. It's been a pleasure to talk shop again.
Thank you so much, Miles. Talking with you was like listening to one of your records. Surprising, deep, and totally cool. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.